your video frames still look like photos. And I think that's like the telltale sign of like a good cinematographer. So like, where do you draw your inspiration from? Do you feel like you have a natural eye? Do you feel like you can teach an eye?
It's a lot of good questions, man.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, this is good. I'm going to out myself here and say that I've never been like a big movie watcher or TV watcher, which is super ironic because people are like, oh, you work with a camera every day. So I've been trying to get more into films and whatnot. So it's not necessarily from pulling inspiration from films. I don't know if I have a good answer for where I pull inspiration from. I don't think it's from social media either, because I think a lot of it just comes from like my curiosity of like, what can I create within the restrictions that I have, my restrictions being a baseball game. And also too, like, I'm not going out there and shooting for social media, so it's tough too. Like there's a lot of things I want to do, but I'm shooting for the show. Oh, my diabetes is going off. Sorry.
Do we need to get you something?
No. Also, if there are any diabetics who are in the film world, let me know. I know one. I know one diabetic.
There's more out there for sure.
Well, let's find them.
Yeah,
they all listen to this pod.
Yeah, they're gonna comment.
Every diabetic filmmaker listens to 505. Love that. I think my inspiration just comes from like this curiosity I have of like, what can I create within what I have? And like I was saying, I don't get to like only shoot for social media. So a lot of the clips that I do have are just like for the show. And so I was like, oh, how can I like repurpose these to make something creative? So I don't know if I know where my inspiration comes from. And I do think you can teach an eye. I do think that there are things you can learn: composition, lighting, being on top of your camera settings. I think those things like really help. The biggest thing that I think can immediately help someone is just putting something in the foreground. I think that's a huge thing that helps give perspective to an image or to a video, and it helps provide depth. And I think a lot of people just want to get a clean shot, which that has its time and place for sure. But I think providing some perspective, depending on the story you're telling, putting something in front of yourself and the subject is a way to immediately add some interest to what you do. So I try to do that as much as I can. So
yeah, and going off of how cool your images look, your colors are pretty amazing. And so I'm Dustin Nichols asks, why them colors such butter? So I wanted you to put us on game. Why does your stuff look so good?
Why them colors such butter?
That is what we're looking for, yeah.
Yeah.
Precisely. Nicholas?
Dustin
Nicholas.
Dustin Nicholas.
I want
to be his friend. That sounds like a great question. That's just phrased so well. I appreciate that. I think I'm going to start from like kind of the origins of like, I think when I first started doing photography and video, I wanted to have a style so bad. And it took me probably 4 years to figure that out. And it's still evolving, like daily, even throughout the season, it's evolved. But, it takes a long time to develop your own personal style. And it goes back to like me not wanting to replicate things that I've already seen, even though a lot of inspiration that I have comes from things that I've seen, whether it's, conscious or subconscious. So I think being open to just trying new things is a big thing. But I think now a lot of my colors come from a film type look. So I've just researched a lot of like aspects of what goes into film and the characteristics that go into film. And then I find ways to recreate that in Lightroom. And then for DaVinci, I haven't told anyone this.
You don't have to tell them. If you
I do.
Want. Oh.
I don't care.
Oh, okay.
Because my thing is like, if like someone steals my job just because of like one secret that I give away, like how good am I? Like I feel like I should be more than just like one secret that I have. And if like I can't be differentiated just because of like one thing, then I feel like it should be anyone's game to take on the project or the client. So Tom Bowles has this awesome power grade in DaVinci called Cineprint. I don't know if you guys have heard of it or not.
No.
Check it out. It costs some money, but
I just downloaded DaVinci. And I'm
Perfect.
like just playing around with it like a couple of days ago. And the reason I bought it oh, this is fun. So the A1 does not have dual native ISO at 12,800. Learned that the hard way. Filmed a music video at 12,800, super grainy. And so I like was looking at this footage and I'm telling Braden, I'm like, dude, I think I'm fucked. Like this footage does not look good. And then I hit up my buddy Spencer and I was like, do you know of any good like denoise plugins or whatever? He's like, dude, DaVinci has the best. So I was messing around with it and it's saving my footage. But I know that you hear about DaVinci and you hear that like the colors.
Is it better
Then
than Premiere?
it's not even close.
Wow.
Oh, you're like way better.
Way better.
And so are you only in DaVinci now?
I edit, so I'm slowly transitioning my edits to DaVinci.
Oh my God.
Like just because it's a little bit more convenient, but I mainly edit in Premiere right now, and then I'll export in a ProRes 4444 or Quad 4, and then I'll open that back up in DaVinci, and then use the auto scene detect to cut it all up, and then I'll go and grade each clip, and then I'll export that again, and then that's what I'll post.
It's a lot of steps.
It is, but I enjoy it, and it's part of like my creative process. Like for me, like just staying in Premiere and then coloring in Premiere, if I know it could be different or better, then like it's not worth it for me. So unless I'm inspired to like do something, I'm not going to do it. And so for me, the only way I stay inspired is like, oh, I want to color in DaVinci, and so that's just my workflow now.
And your sound design is through the roof.
It's next level.
Yeah.
Thank you. I will say a big help has been the BFIGGY Essentials.
Thank God.
Link down in the description.
Link below.
Yes, Scott. Thanks.
If you haven't gotten the BFIGGY Essentials sound design pack, which is incredibly affordable.
Scott was with me when I was making it. I gave Scott the beta pack. Like he tested it for me and was like giving me feedback on what I should get. And yeah,
there's no better word than essential for this pack.
Thank you, dude. Thank you.
If you don't have it, you're missing out.
Okay, but
if you're a sports creator, you need to get it. How many more should I do?
One more would be great, and I'll slip you the 100 under the table after the pod. What do you think about the like? You know, let's just use a Lakers clip for example. Let's say LeBron breakaway dunk, hammer. Okay, how do you go about building out the dimension that it's going to live in down below? What do you start with? Because there's a million, and everyone has like downloaded all these packs or whatever, and you've obviously have an amazing sound effect that's linked down below to pull from. And so
Absolutely.
how do we go about building out this landscape?
Practically does the work for you.
Yeah, it really. Yeah.
You know what I'm
he
saying?
has a plugin where you literally just type in the sound you want, and it just drops it on the timeline.
Just
Boom.
you type in LeBron.
Yeah, and
Does
then
it
the whole
for you.
video is done.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Next question, I guess. I think so. The very first thing I do is I right click and I add like 30 extra audio layers, because there's nothing worse than like trying to add another layer and like you have to like go to the bottom and then like whatever. So add a bunch of audio layers. You have this blank canvas.
I didn't even know you could do that. I thought to add another audio layer, you had to drag the audio clip down. I'm learning stuff every day, man.
Come on, man.
Thank God you have this podcast to learn from.
And this is why you tune in, folks.
Dude, I focus on photos, so
Oh, that's fair. Checks out. You get a free
fucking
pass.
up music videos left and right over here.
The music is noisy and doesn't have sound design.
Yeah,
Jeez.
dude. The music video doesn't need sound design. You know, it's just a song.
It's
It's
just
just
one
one
audio
audio
track.
track.
One audio
Yeah, I
track.
guess that's fair. So I guess you really don't need much more than
Should
that.
I
It already
add
comes
some,
with.
Should I
it's
add
just like-
some sports sound effects? Like
Some fucking diving.
Yeah, I noticed the mix is a little off. Is that a guy dunking in the background?
Crowd noise.
Did I hear some floor squeaks? I think adding a bunch of open tracks is the first step, and then I don't know. Is there an example? Can I pull up an example?
Yeah, pull up an example.
Then I'll like walk you through how I built it out.
oh yeah,
Yeah, that's great.
you have it on your phone.
Well, I have I posted my
Oh, your timeline. Okay,
timelines
yes.
on my IG,
This will be fun. We can throw up like the screen record.
which
Yeah.
you can follow me if you want
Yeah.
to.
This is I love seeing one of my favorite things is seeing the video with the sound underneath
Yeah.
it. Fires me up.
This edit I did for my website, and it was just visuals, but I liked all the shots that I had, so I had an idea to go in and do sound design on it. So I have this post it's the SFX breakdown for this video. So it's this post of the video on top and the timeline below. You swipe for only the nat sounds, and then it shows only the SFX. the nat sounds with the SFX, and then it's all of it together with no visuals. So my whole thing is like, how can I create an experience with just sound, right? Because it's really so important, and it really can elevate your videos. Your videos can look really amateur, but if you have really good sound, it can make it look extremely professional. So what do I start with?
And the opposite. If you have really like great looking video, but the sound is terrible, it's almost like impossible to watch because you're so distracted by how bad the sound sounds.
People underestimate like how much sound can influence you. And like, I know a lot of people watch videos on silent with, you know, subtitles and whatnot, but you have to pretend like everyone's watching it with sound. Because I mean, if you have a good visual and really bad sound, or just bad sound design in general, like it's just not going to look good or sound good or be a good experience for anyone. So I don't know. I guess with this video, I go through each clip and I think of what it sounded like in the moment and what it would sound like naturally. And I just try to, this is the fun part for me, is like try to like mix sounds together to create a new sound almost. So like if you're not using BFIGGY's Essential Sound Pack for a dunk, for me, like I've used different things. I've used a diving board sound with like springs, or, you know, and you combine that and you reverb it and you slow it down and reverse it, whatever. And you get kind of funky with how you want to create different sounds, and then you layer things. So a lot of my stuff is like, oh, that sounds cool, put it on the track. Adding another layer. Oh, that sounds cool too. Let me toss that underneath. And then like for this start of this video, it's like 3, 6, 9. I don't know, like there's like 15 layers here of different sounds, but it sounds like one or two different things.
Can I see?
So yeah. So
And is it mainly, Scott,
wow.
like whooshes, hits, risers? Is it atmospheric sounds, or
Yeah.
what are you mainly pulling from for say this intro sequence?
hits, risers, whooshes for sure. Those are 3 big things to pull from. And then it's just like,
Do you have those in
Yes, we
the
have
sound effect?
lots of them.
Nice.
but for this, it's like there's a boxer, like, you know, taping his hands, and there's, you know, Mookie sliding into second base. So there's dirt, and then there's, you know, high fives that are happening and ropes. So it's like, what am I seeing in the videos, and how can I take that and amplify it? And the reason why I did the last slide of having SFX and natural sound without a video is like, can you watch this and still know what's happening? And like, that's my goal, is to be able to listen to this and know, oh, like that's when like this guy's going up to bat, or that's when this guy's sliding into second, or that's when LeBron's dunking. So I think all of that plays, and that's like my test. Can I like close my eyes and listen to the edit and know what's going on in the video, and then I'll export it. Like until that point, like something's missing. So
How long does that process normally take? Is that the most time consuming thing that you do, or is it color?
And where does that live in the editing process?
good question. I think color used to be one of the longer things for me, but I think that's sped up. Sound does take a while. I think the longest part is like structuring the video and pacing it out. I think that's what takes the longest. And then after that, it's probably sound and then color. Sound for me usually comes, if I'm working on a music track, it comes first. Or like after selects, I'll like find a music track and then I'll try to build off of the music track. If there's no music track, which I usually don't really have in my stuff, then it comes usually after everything.
Oh, you don't normally have a music track?
No.
I didn't even.
A lot of times I
didn't even
don't use
notice
it. Yeah,
that.
because sometimes I do. And there's videos that have music for sure and less sound design. But for this video specifically, there's no music track.
Just sound.
And I think I wanted to just try to like challenge myself of like, can I make this interesting without any like bed? So that usually comes after. So I'll like build out a timeline, a structure. And then once I have that set, I'll be like, okay, how can I make this sound cool? And how can I make this sound interesting? And so sound usually comes last for me.